round of rebirths. 4.24. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Uruvela on the bank of the river Naranjara at the foot of the goat herd's banyan tree. On that occasion, Mara, the evil one, had been following the Blessed One for 7 years, seeking to gain access to him but without success. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. Is it because you are sunk in sorrow that you meditate in the woods? Because you have lost wealth or pined for it, or committed some crime in the village? Why don't you make friends with people? Why don't you form any intimate ties? And the Buddha said, having dug up entirely the root of sorrow, guiltless, I meditate free from sorrow. Having cut off all greedy urge for existence, I meditate taintless or asava-less, O kinsman of the negligent. And Mara said, that of which they say it's mine, and those who speak in terms of mine. If your mind exists among these, you won't escape me, ascetic. And the Blessed One said, that which they speak of is not mine. I'm not one of those who speak of mine. You should know thus, O evil one, even my path you will not see. And Mara said, if you have discovered the path, the secure way leading to the deathless, be off and walk that path alone. What's the point of instructing others? And the Buddha said, those people going to the far shore ask what lies beyond death's realm. When asked, I explain to them the truth about acquisitions or attachments. I'll stop here for a moment. So here you see, Mara is saying, if you have discovered the path, the way leading to the deathless, you go and walk the path alone. Why you want to instruct others? So Mara does not like the Buddha to teach the Dhamma to others. Then Mara said, suppose, Venerable Sir, not far from a village or a town, there was a lotus pond in which a crab was living. Then a group of boys and girls would leave the village or town and go to that pond. They would pull the crab out from the water and set it down on high ground. Then whenever that crab would extend one of its claws, those boys and girls would cut it off, break it, and smash it to bits with sticks and stones. Thus, when all its claws have been cut off, broken, and smashed to bits, that crab would be unable to return to that pond. So too, Venerable Sir, all those distortions, maneuvers, and contortions of mind have been cut off, broken, and smashed to bits by the Blessed One. Now, Venerable Sir, I am unable to approach the Blessed One again, seeking to gain access to him. Then Mara, the evil one, in the presence of the Blessed One, recited these verses of disappointment. There was a crow that walked around, a stone that looked like a lump of fat. Let's find something tender here, he thought. Perhaps there's something nice and tasty. But because he found nothing tasty there, the crow departed from that spot. Just like the crow that attacked the stone, we leave Gotama disappointed. That's the end of the sutta. So in this sutta, you see, Mara had been following the Buddha for 7 years, trying to influence the Buddha's mind, but he was not successful. So after so many years of effort, he finally decided to give up. And that's why he said, just like a crab, some children, they take delight in killing the crab. But before killing the crab, they smash all its feet. Anytime the crab extends a foot out, they will smash it. So in the same way, Mara said, each time he tried his tricks on the Buddha would smash his tricks. So finally he decided that enough. He departed just like that crow, disappointed that there was no meat in that stone. The next sutta is connected to this one, 4.25. Then Mara, the evil one, having spoken these verses of disappointment in the presence of the Blessed One, went away from that spot and sat down cross-legged on the ground, not far from the Blessed One, silent, dismayed, with his shoulders drooping, downcast, brooding, unable to speak, scratching the ground with a stick. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati, and Raga, approached Mara the evil one and addressed him in verse. Why are you despondent, father? Who's the man for whom you grieve? We will catch him with the snare of lust, as they catch the forest elephant. We will bind him tightly and bring him back, and he will be under your control. Let's stop here for a moment. These three daughters of Mara, because they come from the sixth heaven, the highest heaven in the sensual desire realm, they must be very beautiful. So they told the father Mara that if you can't catch the man, we will catch him for you using lust. Make him have sensual desire, then we can catch him. And the Buddha said, the Arahant, the fortunate one in the world, is not easily drawn by means of lust. He has gone beyond Mara's realm. Therefore, I sorrow so bitterly. So Mara is saying that he is very bitter. He tried all ways to trick the Buddha, but was not successful. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, approached the Blessed One and said to him, we serve at your feet, ascetic. But the Blessed One paid no attention, as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, went off to the side and took counsel and discussed. Men's stays are diverse. Suppose we each manifest ourselves in the form of 100 maidens. Then Mara's three daughters, each manifesting herself in the form of 100 maidens, approached the Blessed One and said to him, we serve at your feet, ascetic. But the Blessed One paid no attention, as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. I'll stop here for a while. So here Mara's three daughters, they tried to tempt the Buddha, but the Buddha did not even bother to look at them, not interested. Then they decided, after discussing, that each one of them will transform into 100 young girls, all of different looks. So want to tempt the Buddha. So when they manifested in this way, again the Buddha did not bother to look at them, not interested at all. An ordinary person is, as we say, tak boleh tahan, cannot bear it, all these beautiful girls. Then Mara's daughters went off to the side and again took counsel. Men's tastes are diverse. Suppose we each manifest ourselves in the form of 100 women who have never given birth. Then Mara's three daughters, each manifesting herself in the form of 100 women who have never given birth. And then later in the form of 100 women who have given birth once. And later in the form of 100 women who have given birth twice. And later in the form of 100 women of middle age. And later in the form of 100 old women, approached the Blessed One and said to him, we serve at your feet, ascetic. But the Blessed One paid no attention, as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. I'll stop here for a moment. So these Mara's three daughters, after manifesting themselves as young girls, before the Buddha was not interested, then they thought maybe he prefers older women. So they start to transform themselves in different shapes. Some are slightly older, and some later has given birth once, and later given birth twice, middle age, old age, all forms. Also the Buddha was not interested. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, went off to the side and said, what our father said is true. The Arahant, the fortunate one in the world. They repeated what Mara said. If we had assailed with such tactics any ascetic or brahmana, a holy man, who was not devoid of lust, either his heart would have burst, or he would have vomited hot blood from his mouth, or he would have gone mad, or become mentally deranged, or else he would have dried up and withered away and become shriveled, just as a green reed that has been mowed down and dry up and wither away and become shriveled. Stop here for a moment. So here, they said if any other person who is not devoid of lust, who still has lust, if we tempt him in this way, his heart would have burst, or he would have vomited blood, or he would have become mad, etc. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, approached the Blessed One and stood to one side. Standing to one side, Mara's daughter, Tanha, addressed the Blessed One in verse. Is it because you are sunk in sorrow that you meditate in the woods? Because you have lost wealth or pine for it, or committed some crime in the village? Why don't you make friends with people? Why don't you form any intimate ties? And the Buddha said, having conquered the army of the pleasant and agreeable, meditating alone, I discovered bliss, the attainment of the goal, the peace of the heart. Therefore, I don't make friends with people, nor will I form any intimate ties. Then Mara's daughter, Arati, addressed the Blessed One in verse. How does a monk here often dwell? That 5 floods crossed, he here has crossed the 6th. How does he meditate? So sensual perceptions are kept at bay and fail to grip him. And the Buddha said, tranquil in body, in mind well liberated, not generating, mindful, homeless, knowing Dhamma, meditating thought-free, he does not erupt or drift or stiffen. When a monk here often dwells thus, with 5 floods crossed, he here has crossed the 6th. When he meditates thus, sensual perceptions are kept at bay and fail to grip him. Then Mara's daughter Raga addressed the Blessed One in verse. He has cut off craving, faring with his group and order. Surely many other beings will cross. Alas, this homeless one will snatch many people and lead them away beyond the king of death. And the Buddha said, truly the Tathagatas, the great heroes, lead by means of the true Dhamma. When they are leading by means of the Dhamma, what envy can there be in those who understand? Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, approached the evil one. Mara saw them coming in the distance and addressed them in verses. Fools, you try to batter a mountain with the stalks of lotus flowers, or to dig up a mountain with your nails, or to chew iron with your teeth. As if having lifted a rock with your head, you sought a foothold in the abyss. As if you struck a stump with your breast, you part from Gotama disappointed. They had come to him glittering with beauty, Tanha, Arati and Raga, but the teacher swept them away right there, as the wind a fallen cotton tuft. So here, finally, after they failed to tempt the Buddha, then the 3 daughters of Mara asked him, the first one asked him, why do you live alone? Why don't you make friends with people? And the Buddha says, he has attained the bliss of liberation. There's no need to make friends with people. Another daughter asked him how to cross the floods. That means to go over to the other shore to be liberated. And the Buddha says, mindful, homeless, meditating thought-free. To meditate thought-free means to attain the state where thoughts stop, and that is the 2nd jhana and above, where the mind is so concentrated and thoughts cannot arise. And then sensual perceptions are kept at bay and cannot grip that meditator. Then the 3rd one said that such a enlightened person like the Buddha will snatch many people away from the king of death. The king of death is can be said to be Mara. So the Buddha said, it's true, the Tathagatas lead by the Dhamma, lead people over to the other shore. But why should you be jealous? So when the 3 daughters went back to Mara, then the the Mara scolded them. Yes.